It's true. Bamboo bedding is dreamy to sleep on. That's why Quince aptly named their Bamboo Dream Quilt Set. Coming in 12 colors, you're absolutely going to love this quilt and 2 shams set. Starting at the softest of pinks and going all the way to a dark navy. It's going to be perfect for anyone's room. Your own, your guest rooms, your kids' rooms, maybe even back to the dorm bedding. Quince has everything you need to elevate your space, from bedding to soft organic towels, airy curtains, and premium kitchen tools designed for everyday use. And of course, as you know, Quince has gorgeous cashmere and other wardrobe essentials. And the best part, Quince's products are half the cost of similar brands. They partner with top artisans and cut out the cost of the middleman, passing the savings on to us. Thank you, Quince. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, so you can feel good about your purchases from Quince. Elevate your space with home essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. Today we're going to be hitting the floor. I wish it was the dance floor, but it's going to be fun anyway. Hey everybody, I'm Kelly Wilkness here with Anita Joyce, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. Today we're going to be discussing the world of flooring options, and this was a wonderful suggestion made by one of our fabulous listeners, Molly Keys. So when we put out the word that we or taken in topics from listeners, Molly stepped up to the plate and gave us this great idea to cover all the flooring options. So it's going to be a pretty comprehensive list. We're going to run through all the options, give you some pros and cons, and maybe open your eyes to some options you hadn't considered.
Yes, there are so many options now. It's not just wood or stone anymore. There's just so many other things that you can do.
The aesthetic value of uniform flooring is so important in a home. If you can get the same flooring, at least throughout one level, you're going to do a lot to creating this beautiful flow in your home that we're always talking about. Even if it's just through the common areas, you may want to include the kitchen. Sometimes people don't, and they kind of do that in a different flooring. But if you're seeing it all and it's an open concept, my thought is to keep it all the same. So you want to make a good choice. So we're going to give you a lot of information today so you can make that best choice. And also, flooring is going to really impact the look of your home. So my suggestion is, if you're going to have new flooring, allocate some serious budget towards that. That's what we did at this house, and I couldn't be happier. I thought, if I can't get the sofa I want, or if I can't get the light fixture I want, at least I'm going to have the foundation, literally and figuratively, of the look that I want by putting my budget dollars towards the flooring.
I have to tell you, years ago, we bought a house that had carpet, and I was tired of the carpet. I couldn't wait to get rid of it, and I decided I was going to put hardwood floors in. And, well, actually, it was engineered hardwood floors, but we were on a super, super tight budget. I mean, super tight. So they just happened to have some flooring that was really marked down a lot. Well, the problem was it was a bit of a red tint, to the stain. And I just thought, and I felt like I just cannot afford the other that I really, really want. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Okay, I did it. And I have to say, instant regret. I was always sorry I did it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just let that be a cautionary tale.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just look at the budget. You're going to be seeing a lot of this, whatever you choose for your floor. It's going to be everywhere.
Yes.
And if you don't like it, that's going to be a sad tale to tell, because you're going to be looking at it for a long time. And I thought I would never. I mean, again, that was the house that needed to be painted. We just had to move. It was the house with the gold paint on the wall. So, well, not gold, you know what I mean, yellow. So we had to leave, not just because of the wall paint, but because of those red floors.
That was something else I wanted to talk about before we get into the various options and the pros and cons, is that particular type of stain was very popular. So the reddish undertone, yellowy, done on an oak floor, if you have that and it works with your palette, fantastic. Keep it. It's probably great flooring. Oak is a great wood to have on your floors. But if you don't like it, and we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail as we go on, but if it's a hardwood floor or even engineered, you can probably get that sanded at least once, maybe twice, and change the stain. Because that color, that stain, that tone is very hard to work with a lot of the color palettes that we're seeing, that people are tending to like, in the last 20, 30 years, right? So the red undertones and the yellows was sort of in the Wayback Machine. So it's not really working with a lot of what we are seeing today. It's very hard to play with other wood tones. So furniture may not look good sitting on it. So that's one that's tough. So if you have that and you love it, as I said, great. If you don't, there's ways that you can change it. But like Anita did, but that was a long time ago, don't choose that now.
Well, no, and that's what you said. It could be redone, but if I had paid for that, then, I would have been better off just to buy what I wanted. So that's the tale.
100%. I'm saying if you have a house and it's already there, you put it in and you were weighing it and you made that choice.
That. Yeah. Just saying that it's right. Just go with what you want, or choose something else. But don't make a bad choice like I did and choose something you really don't like. But let's get in it. Let's start with the hardwoods. So I know we're going to break it down into solid hardwood and engineered. So just talking about the solid hardwoods, I think this is everyone's favorite solid wood flooring. We had reclaimed oak wood floors in our previous house. And I'll tell you, that reclaimed oak was amazing. It was so old. And the thing with the old wood is it's very hard. If you want to know why you would want to use reclaimed, it's because the wood grain was much finer than it is now. Just because of the way they grow trees differently now, and that slower growth in the rings were smaller and just did not show the scratches. And we had Molly the Collie back then. So this was something that was wonderful. So that's something that, if you can get that old wood, that is great. So the pros of this hardwood flooring is that it can increase your home's value. It's beautiful, durable, and as you said, Kelly, it can be refinished. But some cons are it is sensitive to moisture. If you spill even like 8 ounces of water on, it's going to swell. Although I will say with the solid wood, we have had water spills on it. It swelled, but then, I hate to say it, about a month later, it'd be fine. So that's what we had in our experience. But it can be expensive as a con. And depending on which kind you have, it can scratch easily.
Yeah, I'm glad you broke it down and talked about the reclaimed, because a lot of people, I'm sure, have heard that, but they're not really sure why that's a good thing. Like, my hardwood was in a former life a barn in Vermont or something like that. There's good reason why that's more expensive. It's harder to transport it and take it apart and all that, but it could be worth it down the line, especially if it's a home that you're going to be in for a long time. And there's so many great options with hardwood. It's very customizable, not only the type of wood, but of course the stain that you choose and even the layout. So if you're going to go that way, definitely shop around and interview some installers. You want to have somebody who's really skilled and knows what they're doing. And maybe that's all they do. That's the type of person I would go for if I was putting in really most of the floorings that we're talking about. A couple of them are DIY, but definitely if you're going to spend the money for the hardwood. The engineered hardwood, as you might imagine, it does involve hardwood, but that's mostly the top veneer. It is more stable than a regular hardwood. It's a little bit more moisture resistant and it's easier to install. So the labor might be a little bit less expensive. It's made of multi-layers of wood, the top being the solid wood veneer, then usually a core of plywood or fiberboard with a backing layer on the bottom. So, and depending on the depth of that top layer, you can usually have it refinished once, maybe twice. So there's a lot of pros to the engineered hardwood. It's not going to be that much less expensive than the real hardwood in most instances, but it is a little bit easier to install. So another pro is a little bit less labor cost.
Well, and I want to throw in another flooring here, a wood flooring that we actually have in our house, and that is pine. We have pine flooring, and that's not actually hardwood, but it's hardwood adjacent. Let's call it that. I mean, everyone would just see my house and just call it hardwood because that's what it looks like. But it is a little different grain. It's pine. But the big difference is, think of the term hardwood. It's not hard. It is soft. It's soft wood. Pine is very soft, so it is going to scratch more easily. It is going to dent more easily. I don't have a problem with that as long as I can just touch it up and it's the same color. I don't mind the scratches. So it's fine for me. I will say we had another house that had a pine floor and they had done a very thick polyurethane coating on it, which I was not happy about. I didn't see that until after it was done. It was very upsetting to me because, again, Molly the Collie, lots of scratches on that floor, and they were in the polyurethane. They didn't go down to the wood. So I couldn't do anything to fix those scratches except refinish it. So be very careful about any kind of coating that's going on the floor, because now I have scratches in the wood. I can just touch them up. It's not a problem. So that's something to think about. But it is a much less expensive option if you want hardwood, but it is going to scratch and dent. So just keep that in mind. The next one is laminate flooring. And this is another engineered product. And instead of a veneer of wood on top, it takes a photo of wood or stone or some other material and then adds a protective plastic coating on top. It is typically dense fiberwood underneath. Now, we actually had a laminate flooring also at one point in a previous house, and we had a leak from our refrigerator when they had hooked up our new refrigerator.
I remember this, yeah.
And it ruined the floor, and the laminate floor was completely destroyed. So although my hardwoods will bounce back from too much water, the laminate flooring, it's not going to. So you don't really want a lot of water on this. A few drops here and there I think is fine, but just be careful about this. But a lot of these laminate floorings, this was called Pergo back in the day. I think it's made by a lot of people now. I think IKEA might have even had a version of this. Anyway, it does look similar to hardwood or to the engineered hardwood. It's affordable and durable. But as I said, it is sensitive to moisture. It cannot be refinished, and it can delaminate. So you have to be careful.
Yeah, Pergo is kind of like the Kleenex of it, like people just refer to this type of flooring as Pergo, but it is laminate. That's actually what it is. And I think you mentioned this, Anita, it can have the look of hardwood. It could also have the look of stone. And some of that is amazing. And it can have the look of tile. So I think almost the stone and tile is a little bit better looking than trying to recreate the grain of a wood. A lot of those look really fake. So that's what I would caution there. So have a look at that. And yes, definitely very sensitive to water. Vinyl. Inexpensive, highly durable, great for kids and pets. You could actually DIY it if you really wanted to. You really need to have a level subfloor, so not a good choice for older homes because usually they, like mine, are not a level subfloor. The pros, very water resistant, very affordable. Cons, not eco-friendly. You do need that perfect subfloor, and again, no refinishing. And it comes in planks or sheets.
And some of these look, I think, pretty good. Some of the luxury vinyl flooring actually looks pretty nice. When I went apartment shopping with Evie, I noticed that almost all the apartments are done in this luxury vinyl flooring that's made to look like wood. So it's a very popular flooring option. Okay, so our next one is tile flooring. And there are two types of tile typically used. Ceramic and porcelain. So ceramic is made from a mixture of water and sand, so it's going to be softer and more affordable, whereas porcelain is made from a finer, denser clay. It's fired at a higher temperature, so it's going to be harder and less porous than the ceramic. So that is going to be a more expensive choice. And if you're going to have an area that is going to have a lot of water in it, then I think this is going to be a good choice for you. Tile flooring is highly durable, it is water resistant, and it tends to be low maintenance. The cons are if you're going to do it yourself, it can be very difficult to do, and it is a very hard surface. If you drop something on it, it's just going to break. It's not a friendly floor to breakable objects.
Well, for tile, there's so many options. There's gazillions of tiles. My problem with the tile floor is, as you mentioned, that it's a very hard surface. It tends to be cold, and I don't like grout. So if you've got big grout lines, that can look really dirty. It also can look really busy. You tend to see tile in more of the living or common areas in warm weather locations. I know when my parents were living in Florida, their whole first floor was tiled. You know, the kitchen ran right into the living room, and the dining room was all tile. You know, it's a look for there, maybe, because, I don't know, hardwood seems more like a cold weather type of thing, I guess. I don't know, but then they had wall-to-wall carpeting in the other room. So I'm not a big fan of tile floor. I can see where it can be used. For my taste, I would probably stick to just the bathrooms, and that's where you're definitely going to have the most water. So, but of course, it's something you could do, and if you've got tile, you know, it's really easy to take care of. If it's in and it's good tile, there's really no reason to take it out if you love it. Bamboo is another option. I did a whole living room and entry area with clients a couple of years ago in bamboo. They really wanted to be very eco-friendly, and it's a very eco-friendly choice. It's actually not a wood at all. It's a grass, and as anybody knows, as everyone probably knows, bamboo is very sustainable and it really rejuvenates quickly. And if you've got bamboo on your property, you know it grows back, and it's actually hard to get rid of if you don't want it.
Yes.
It's super low maintenance, and it's a good alternative to hardwood. The cons are it does scratch. They didn't have little kids in the house or pets, so they weren't worried about that. This is something you might not think about because it is eco-friendly in that the product itself, the raw material, is sustainable and renewable, but it can be toxic. So you have to check it. How was this bamboo grown? You know, they put a lot of pesticides on it and things like that. So that's stuff you might not know. So you might think, oh, bamboo, you know, we could lick the floor if we needed to, but don't, you know? So, yeah, and not great with moisture either. So it's a choice you don't see that much, but if you're the right person and you have a household where you don't have a lot of potential for scratches or people dropping things, so maybe in a room where there's not a lot of eating going on, or certainly not to be used in a bathroom, bamboo might be something you want to check into. Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. I can't stop using dupe.com. This is an amazing website, service, best friend. I absolutely love it. So you find something that you really want and it's too expensive, it's a budget buster. Then you use dupe.com and you can find almost the exact thing or very similar products for much less. So I was crushing on this incredibly gorgeous coffee table. I had it in my mind. I had it in my Pinterest boards. I had it everywhere, but I just didn't have it in my house because it was too expensive. When I learned about dupe.com, that was the first product that I tested. And boy, did I find some amazing dupes. And I purchased one. So the original was almost $3,000. And Dupe showed me many choices, all the way down to under $200. Now, you may think something this extraordinary is hard to use, but it's so easy. Just type dupe.com/ before any product URL in your browser, and boom, it instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account required, no sign up required. It's completely free. That's completely FREE free to use. Stop wasting your money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today.
What about the old staple wall-to-wall carpet, which is what I grew up with. I think they probably put it over the old hardwood floors.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. That's well, a lot of times when people are buying houses now, they think, oh my God, peel up a piece in the corner and see if there's gorgeous hardwood under this.
Right. So you can get tufted carpet or woven or Berber carpet. So tufted is the small nylon fibers poking up through a backing that's typically made of polyurethane. Woven, it's also called Berber, and that's made by weaving lengths of yarn that are often made of wool. And this, if it's made from wool, is going to be much more expensive than the tufted. We actually had a wool Berber carpet in our other house. Actually, that was several houses ago. You know, the one that had the engineered flooring that was red, that was that house.
Wow, you really had to just scamper from that place.
Yeah, anyway, but it is comfortable. Obviously, carpet is going to be nice under your feet. It does dampen sound. It's affordable, but it does attract allergens, can be hard to clean, and it does stain easily. So, yeah, not my favorite, but I know in the Northeast, it's very popular for bedrooms.
Yeah, because it's cold and you get up and you put your tootsies on some nice carpet or, it just seems like you're kind of wrapped in a bit of a cocoon. I get it. It's just not something I would have in my house. I do worry about the dander. I do have 3 little pets, as a lot of you know, so I wouldn't go with a wall-to-wall carpeting. It would be an arduous task to be cleaning that as much as I would have to. My area rugs, I have one that's got to go out. Let's just not say why, but it's a very nice carpet. It's just going to go out to get cleaned. My fire foster didn't really read the house rules before she came to stay with us, but that's okay. We loved her.
Berber carpet and doggy paws and kitty paws, not a good mix because they can really snag very easily.
A Berber is a loop pile. So if they do start scratching, and that Princess, the foster doggy, did scratch too. So that would not have been good. Mine don't really do that, but she would have pulled it. So there's also the cut pile of a carpet, of a wall-to-wall carpet. So it's not looped. It just comes straight up. And then you can have different heights of that. It can be, like a shag. Or my grandma had a shag, an orange shag carpet. And I would go over there and she had
fashion.
Oh, yes. And she had a little metal rake. And that would be one of my jobs. I loved it. Can you imagine how much I love that? I love organizing.
Wow.
And then you would do it and you could just do it. And then it was kind of like when people cut the grass and you can kind of see the lines. And I would write my initial.
Wow.
And I would comb it over again. It was like doing a comb over on her rug. It was super long. It's a memory I will never lose that one. At least I hope not. So stone. Anita mentioned a little bit about stone before, different stone tiles, right? I think you talked about, but just to go over that again, it's luxe, expensive, low maintenance generally. What I wanted to revisit this one for us because you can get tight grout lines with stone. So that's a little bit better than having tile with a wider. You can do tile with a closer grout line too, of course, but stone tiles tend to almost not even have grout. I think you can actually do it where they're just so close together that they don't have any grout, but you don't want any separation then where anything, crumbs or something like that, could get in there. So you'd have to talk to a really skilled installer. Again, not a thing you just want to pick up some dude outside of Home Depot and be like, hey, want to install my stone floor? No, you want to go with somebody who really knows. Not that those people aren't skilled in whatever they do, but you want to make sure that somebody only does or has done many, many stone floors before they do yours. Very durable, cleans easily. The cons are it's expensive, it's cold, and depending on the stone you choose, it could stain.
Yes. Okay. That leads right into concrete flooring. So this is poured in place. You might even have carpet in your house, and when you pull it up, there might be concrete underneath the carpet, depending on how old your house is. So this is going to be kind of your institutional gray if it's just a regular concrete floor. If you're planning this ahead of time and you're planning to use this, you can mix in some dyes to get a little different color, or you can paint it. There's also acid stains that you can use. So we actually have kind of an outdoor, indoor area, and I'm thinking about painting it uh, because it has a concrete floor and it looks kind of boring. And the concrete does stain very badly. So if you don't seal it, it is going to stain. It's going to be cold, and I mean, anything dropped on it, even from like a couple inches away, is going to break. And I ask me how I know. It is going to be durable, low maintenance, and affordable. And I will tell you, another house that we had a long time ago had wall to wall carpet. You know, it was an old house, and that's what was in there. We had a renter who had kind of destroyed the carpet with her dog. We won't get into that. We've kind of touched on it with your foster. We couldn't sell the house. I finally gave up and was having new carpet installed. During the time between when I scheduled the carpet to when the new carpet went in, we had a buyer, and I thought, well, I wonder if I should go through with this carpet. So what I found out from the agent was he was just going to rip up the carpet and stain the concrete floors. So, I mean, I got on the phone right away to the carpet installer and said, don't put it in. I was charged a restocking fee of like 20%, and I saved myself a lot of money. But I thought that was so interesting, and I never got to see it, but I'm sure it looked great.
Yeah, well, I can really speak to that because in our last house and this house, we made the garage into something else. And it was a concrete floor, and I stained it myself. I think Peter helped for a little while, but then there might have been like a Dodger game on or something, and he lost interest, but it was not hard. I did section by section, and I wanted that sort of mottled MOTTLE look. All right. So you just rub it on. You get it at Home Depot. Behr has a lot of choices. So it's a concrete stain. It goes right in. You can even layer different colors, which is what I did. And then you can put a coating on top of it. If you have a garage that maybe has oil stains or something like that, you're going to see the stain through it. It's a good idea to wash it first, and maybe you don't want to do that yourself. You definitely wear a mask or goggles and things like that when you do that because it is acid. But it took really nicely. I thought it looked great. And then in the barn here, that was a lot of square footage to do additional flooring. And as I said, I was doing the flooring inside, and that was a big chunk of the budget. So we never did it out there. But again, I went back out with my new cans of stain and stained it. And I love it. I'm thinking about painting it at some point just to lighten it up a little bit out there. And now we don't have as much kid traffic out there. So I think I could do a paint on the floor. But the paint, you have to make sure you're doing an epoxy type of paint that goes over cement. Just don't get a can of, wall paint. That is not going to cut it. So definitely affordable and easy to clean, unmatched in durability. I'm a big fan of it. It was really, really hot maybe 10, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. You were seeing where they would buff the concrete to the point where it almost was shiny. And that's a good look in some places. And definitely when the industrial trend was really hot, a lot of people were looking for the concrete floor, kind of has that, New York City loft vibe to it. So it's a cool look in certain applications. Cork. That's an unusual flooring. You don't see that much. And, maybe you don't see it that much for good reasons, but it's soft. It does insulate a bit. So if you're in an office, maybe it's just your office and you're going in and out, and maybe you're on phone calls a lot, it might be an option to consider if you don't want to do carpeting, because it will soak up the sound a bit. It is pest resistant, which is marked as a pro, but I don't know like how many pests you're going to be like. I hope you don't have pests creeping and crawling around any of your other flooring. So I guess, that's a small pro, but it can fade. It's poor durability. So that's why I'm suggesting it in a room that people are not coming in and out of with shoes on and things like that. And sealing is required.
Linoleum flooring is next, and people confuse that with vinyl, but it is not vinyl. Linoleum flooring is made from linseed oil and wood products. So it is sold in tiles or sheets like vinyl, but as I said, it's very different, and it's best for bathrooms and kitchens. It's durable. There's many styles. It's eco-friendly. but it may dent easily. It can yellow over time, and it does get damaged with water. So it is not perfect, but that is another choice.
Yeah, and don't think about your grandma's linoleum. There are a lot of cool linoleums out there. Jonathan Adler did a whole line of linoleum. I don't know if that's still out there, but I know that wasn't too long ago, so it probably is carried by somebody somewhere. And it can be very cool, and you can mix different colors. You can create patterns, if you're doing the smaller pieces. So there are really endless options. But yes, definitely dense. Like if you, in your mind's eye, could think of a kitchen you might have seen with linoleum. And if you moved the kitchen table, there would be the dents in the floor from the legs. So yeah, it's definitely not a particularly durable choice. But Molly and everybody else, I hope we covered everything you were hoping to hear on flooring. And if there's any other flooring options that we didn't mention, of course, you can email us and let us know if you have a flooring option that is different than what we talked about today. I'd love to hear about it. So do we have a review today?
We do. This one's called Love, Love, and it's by Denver Mimian 23.
Oh, 23 is my lucky number.
Okay, well, here we go. Your podcast is such a treat. Not only do I enjoy your helpful tips and tricks, but I truly enjoy listening to the two of you as people. Your personalities are refreshing, genuine, kind, and so much fun to listen to. Anita, your voice is kind and soothing. Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Kelly, you are so full of charisma and spunk. I love that you each express unique ideas. The information and source links that you share are so helpful. I have shared your podcast with friends. Thank you for adding joy to my daily commute. I love your podcast. And we love you, Denver Mimian 23.
Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. She hit it all. Wow. The show notes, the conversational, the tips, the tricks. Thank you so much. It's really great. And we love that you share it with friends. If you haven't left a review or that's something you don't feel like you're going to make time for, tell a friend that you like the show and see if you can get them to listen. That's a great way to share the show as well. And we really appreciate all of that. So what is our DTT defines for today?
We are defining lumen. I thought this would be good to define.
Wait, Lumen Industries?
No, a
From
unit
Severance?
of measurement.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It is a unit of measurement for luminous flux, which indicates the amount of visible light emitted by a source. Or in other words, in layman's terms, we're just going to say how bright a light bulb is. And remember back in the simple days, you could just say, well, what was the wattage on the bulb? If you needed to read, you knew, well, you probably need a 150 watt light bulb in that lamp. Now we have low energy LEDs, and they operate and provide a lot more lumens on a lot less wattage. So now wattage is no longer a really good measure of how bright the light bulb is going to be, because you're comparing apples to oranges if you're looking at LED and incandescent. So this is definitely the best way to determine how bright a bulb is going to be. So I would kind of look at some of your bulbs at home, figure out how many lumens they are and see how bright they come on, and then you can compare that on a site like Amazon. So on Amazon, if you're comparing light bulbs, don't look at that wattage, look at the lumens and see if they're the same. So for example, if you have a 100 watt incandescent bulb and you're going to have about 1600 lumens. And if it's an LED light to get 1600 lumens, you can do that with 22 watts. So you can see why it's so important to really just look at the lumens instead of the wattage when comparing them.
Yes. It is a model, and it's something that we need to be comfortable with and learn about. So let's link the episode that we did. I think it was a plus episode when I talked all about the incandescent to LEDs. I think we called it something like watt, ha ha ha, WATT, what's the watt or something like that.
I'll find it.
Yeah, it was so clever and spunky, apparently.
Oh, well, it was spunky, I'll say that.
It was very spunky of me to come up with that title, whatever it is that I can't remember. But let's link that, because I think that will cast a light. an even brighter
my.
light
Somebody
on your
stop her.
definition. I know.
Make it
please.
stop, please.
Make it stop. Okay, we'll make it stop by you telling us your crush.
Okay. My crush is some grounding sheets I got, and they're actually helping me sleep better. From the research, it looks like grounding or earthing can improve circulation, improve sleep, reduce time to heal wounds. There's a lot of research on PubMed about the benefits of grounding or earthing. And the short version is that when you have, I mean, you've heard of free radicals, right?
Oh, God, don't let them get on my face. Yes, of course.
Okay. Do you know what they are?
They are not good.
They're bad things. Okay, so free radicals can be caused by radiation, chemicals, toxins, and even metabolic processes in your body. But these unstable molecules, which is what they are, can cause cell damage and lead to oxidative stress, which is basically aging. So what they're doing is electrons want to be paired. They like being paired. And if you have an odd number, where are they going to get that electron that they want to pair with? From your body. And when they're pulling it from your body, that's what's called oxidation or oxidative stress. So it's just pulling these electrons from your body, and your body then wants those electrons. And how do you get more electrons? By grounding. You can walk barefoot on the earth, just walk in the grass, bare feet. It does the same exact thing. Or you can sleep with a grounded sheet. I like the grounded sheet because it is something I can do for 8 hours. Rather, if I'm just sitting outside with my feet in the grass or walking, I'm probably not going to do it for that long because I know over there's ants, there's scorpions, and I don't want to do it for too long. The grounding provides your body with a lot of free electrons from the ground or from your electrical circuit in your house. And it makes those free radicals happy, and it saves the day. So it acts like an antioxidant.
Okay, so what do they put inside the fabric?
Oh, there's silver threads. There are silver threads, which is very conductive, and it plugs into your wall socket, into the grounding. You know, that third plug.
Wait a minute, your sheets plug into the wall?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I have seen advertisements for grounded bedding, but I don't think I paid any attention to what it was. Mm-hmm. Or they didn't explain it as well as you just did.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay, so I'm kind of getting.
Did I do it in a soothing way? With my soothing voice?
It was very soothing. Yes. I never, I don't, it's true. When I read that review, I thought, that's true. She does have a soothing voice because I edit, so I hear your voice all the time, Anita.
I know.
And I do find it soothing. And I hope I'm not jarring. I hope everyone feels I'm spunky.
It's just spunky.
So sweet. We so appreciate that. We're really enjoying that. It was a great review. Thank you. Okay, that's very interesting. I'm just going to add something that is somewhat related that I experienced. I do yoga at least a couple times a week, which I really love. And usually I do it actually on a rug and with a mat, but on my cement floor out in what we converted into a gym. But when I've gone on vacation, I do a yoga class on the grass. And the first couple of times I did it, and you're laying, and if anybody does yoga, at the end, sometimes you're in Shavasana and you're just laying and you're trying to relax, which I don't really just lay down a lot. And that's nice in and of itself. But I'm telling you, the laying of the full body on the grass it's even just maybe 3-4 minutes that you do that. It was really amazing how I felt. And I really attributed it to being on the grass. And I thought it's just because I love dirt. I love, the garden, all that. And I just thought, oh, really, that's like a super connection. But you're sort of, making this connection stronger in that's actually something your body needs.
Mm-hmm. Right. And, I think around the 60s, that's when they started coating the bottom of all of our shoes in rubber. And before that, they used to all have leather soles. And so we were grounding all the time because leather's conductive, but rubber is not.
Oh, okay. So in like a lightning storm, you'd want to have rubber shoes on? Is that it? But
I think
on the
I think go
everyday,
inside if it's
on the everyday.
well, and unplug your grounding sheets too. I mean, that's what they
Oh my
suggest.
gosh! Oh my gosh! Well, we had an earthquake a little bit this morning.
Did you really?
A little bit, yeah, a little earthquake. Not a little bit of earthquake. We had a little earthquake this morning when I woke. I woke up to an earthquake this morning. That was kind of interesting, but it was just little. The chandelier didn't even move.
Oh,
okay, so that's great. So I have a totally different kind of crush, which is fun. When we have ones that are like in completely different categories. Remember COVID? Yeah, right. You remember
what was that?
Yeah. So there were so many bad things, but I have to say, one of the nice things is you got to wear comfy clothes all the time. And I remember a friend of mine saying we were out doing something, and we all had a mask on or whatever. And she's like, I can't wait to go back home and put on my soft pants. And I thought, yes, it's just months and months, years maybe of soft pants. So sweatpants, soft pants are very nice, but they're not all created equal. And sometimes they're super expensive. And I have bought expensive ones thinking they're going to be great, and they weren't. There just has to be it's got to be like the perfect storm of warmth and coziness, and, it has to sit right in your hips and all this stuff. I found a really inexpensive pair of the perfect soft pants, and I will link them in the show notes.
Ooh, day pajamas? I love a good pair of day pajamas.
You can go, definitely. I have been seen in the grocery store with those on, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wonderful. Well, this was so fun and informative today, Kelly.
Yeah, well, thanks to Molly. Mm-hmm.
Yes, what a great idea for a topic. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.